The question of how to live a good life has plagued humans for millennia. Marcus Aurelius' meditations has helped many answer that question.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Mitch. I'm a personal trainer that is absolutely obsessed with books, habits, and health. So I've heard about meditations for some time now. It often comes up in a lot of the other books that I read, but I've always found it a little bit intimidating. And the reason why is because I know it's a seminal text. It isn't exactly easy reading. And I thought that because I lacked a background in philosophy, I might find it a little bit difficult to connect with. So the reason why I actually decided to pick it up this past month was because my book club was doing it, and I am so glad that they were. In this video, I'm going to give you a brief background of the book, some of the key takeaway lessons, and then what I thought about it. So Marcus Aurelius was the Stoic emperor of Rome between the years 161 and 180. Stoicism, as defined by Google, is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. Basically, what the Stoics believe is that you are 100% in control of your emotions, and you can choose whether or not to feel badly when terrible things happen. Now, I think this should be taken with a grain of salt, but I think that we can all benefit from being a little bit more stoic. So one more thing about Marcus Aurelius is he is the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome, which, as you can infer by the title, everyone after that was pretty brutal and unjust. So Meditations is actually Marcus's journal. He never intended for this to be published as a book, but these are the philosophies that he lived by. So it's written in point form, which means that it can be a very fast read, but the way that you should read philosophy is slow and with intent. You should almost read it the same way that you would read poetry. So it's clear through Meditations that Marcus is a fountain of wisdom. One of the first things that struck me was just how humble he was. So here is arguably the most powerful man on the planet at the time that he was alive, and he starts off book 1 by thanking all of the people that came before him. He doesn't take credit at all for his position in the world, and in fact, he attributes all of his positive attributes to the mentors that he's had in his life. There are 3 themes in this book that kept coming up and really stood out to me. The first one is rationality. Marcus talks a lot about a term called logos, which frankly is a very difficult term to define. The basic idea is that things follow rationality and logic. Logos is the reason why things are the way that they are. Logos is synonymous with nature, providence, or God. So my takeaway is that things happen the way that they should. I also felt that there was some strong relation here to a term called determinism, which I don't think Marcus would necessarily sign off on, but basically the idea is that everything in the universe happens for a specific reason. The reason why we make any decision is because of chemical reactions in our brain that have been wired there from our previous experiences. The second theme that kept coming up was a theme of suffering. In Marcus's view, the only way that we suffer is if we allow ourselves to suffer. Everything is an external event, and we are responsible for the way that we internalize things. If our house burns down, for example, we have the option to stress about that or not to stress about it. But whether we choose to stress or not stress, the reality that our house is burnt down doesn't change at all. And because of that reason, we should choose not to stress. Marcus also extends this logic to physical pain. Physical pain is felt in the body, and our mind gets to decide whether or not we feel it. One of the things that he says is that everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. If it's unendurable, then stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well. So as a Roman emperor, he can clearly be pretty brutal, saying that, if you're gonna die, suck it up because you won't need to worry about it after you're dead. But I do think that we can mentally overcome a lot of the physical pain that we feel. The third theme is death. Marcus talks about death in a very blunt and matter-of-fact way. The line about death that sticks out to me most is to harvest life like standing stalks of grain, grown and cut down in turn. This left me with an image in my mind with a bunch of soldiers standing on a battlefield the same way that wheat stands in a field and somebody coming by with a scythe and just mowing them down. Like, brutal imagery. He also claims that there's nothing inherently good or bad about death. When you die, your atoms are recycled into the world and used for other purposes. So the bright side about all of this talk about death is that Marcus actually uses it to liberate himself to live more life. One of the things that he says is that if you wake up in the morning and you really don't want to get out of bed, keep in mind that one day you're not going to have the option of getting out of bed. Keeping this top of mind will help you not take life for granted and actually get out there and experience more things. So this is a 5 out of 5 book for me. I absolutely loved it. Many of the principles that Marcus used to guide his reign as emperor are timeless, and they crop up in a lot of other self-help books that I read on a frequent basis. I think that we can all benefit from becoming a little bit more stoic and not allowing negative emotions to take over our lives. If you're looking for a book that's a little bit less intimidating than Meditations, but you're interested in stoicism, I would highly recommend that you check out Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way. This is another 5 out of 5 book for me. If you want to see some more material on different self-help books, check out one of the videos that are about to pop up on screen. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.